Hi there, my friends. Hope you're doing well. My goal isn't to have you, for example, go to 180, but already if you can get the 225 bench press goal that a lot of gym enthusiasts want to reach, then that would be awesome. So I reflected on what I could have done better, although I think I did pretty well because I always got the right advice from the right people, which I'm trying to do now to other people to give the right advice. I reflected on how you could also bench as fast as possible, even faster than I did in my progress. So I reflected on the things I could have done even better now that I have the experience of going from basically almost nothing on the bench bar to a big lift. So if you haven't watched it, I made other videos about how to go to 225 pounds bench press as fast as possible. This is in three basically series where I made three videos. They're very long, but if you look at it, you watch it, and you really take notes, take a notebook or whatever, and you write everything that I say, it will be very interesting. But I know that 3 times 20 minutes can be a lot of time, and so you might not want to watch it. And that's why I'm also making this video that will be shorter, straight to the point, where I really give you the best things, the best tips that you can do. It's basically a sum up of the other video, but I still encourage you to watch it if you've got time, because it will save you time in the future for sure. So what I said, it doesn't matter what your starting point is. I'm the great example of this, and I don't have particularly the best morphology to bench press. I have pretty long arms, etc. I bench press because that was an exercise that was famous. I made another video where I talk about the fact you don't have to do exercises that are famous, but that's another story. But basically, I just bench press, and then I kept at it because I also love the exercise. And so I can say that it doesn't really matter what your starting point is. I didn't have the right genetics for most people when I started. Now that I got bigger, people tell me, oh, you must have had the right genetics. It's always like that. Truth is, I didn't have the right genetics. I was very skinny. I was benching something like 80 pounds or less, something like 20 kg or 30 kg, just the empty bar basically for 3-4 reps the first time I did it. I remember actually on the 4th rep of the empty bar having to ask my sister in the distance to go and spot me because the bar was falling on me. That was my first very session in a gym basically. So you can see how weak I was at the time. And so that obviously there is nothing really, I guess, impossible in a way that you can improve on the bench press, although you might start in a very bad, basically, as they will say, genetics or whatever. So here are the main tips that, in my opinion, made me bench better, faster. This is my experience, and I think that there's in these tips a lot of objective experience that will apply to a lot of people. Although I will mention when I think that it might be something that worked for me and that might not work for you. Although, I do think it might work for most people, but I don't also want to take risk and tell you to do something if it might not work for you. As I made in another video, you have to test things out if you feel you can do it. And if, it doesn't work out, just test basically and adjust, adapt. Test the thing for a little bit by going little by little in this new method that I can, for example, teach you. And if you feel it's not for you, stop it. But if you feel it works for you, then carry on. So the first thing that I will say is bench more often. Simply, I think we do get better, faster at the exercises that we do most. A lot of people think they gotta change exercises to improve when they start plateauing, but this is the opposite. Once you find good exercises for yourself, you gotta keep at them because you can measure, track, and improve over time. So you've got to basically bench pretty frequently. The more you bench basically until a certain point, obviously, the better you will be off. So for example, for bench, if you do bench twice a week, it's already a good thing, which means you gotta have the right programming for your goals. I think that if you wanna get better at bench, you gotta do chest, for example, twice a week, and you've got to bench twice. Now, I think this is what objectively would work for everyone. You've got to bench more, like twice a week, and have a program around this where you're not going to do your triceps the day before chest, so you're not tired on your bench press. These are logical, common sense things about programming. So you've got to have the right programming around chest, and you've got to bench twice a week. Now, what I will say is that for even perhaps more advanced people, when I say bench more, it might even be doing more sets on bench. So you will do, for example, your strength work at the start, your bench press cycle, strength cycle. And then towards the end of the session, if you do more hypertrophy stuff, for example, your chest, you might be able to come back on bench press and do a bit more sets that are more hypertrophy oriented. So this is, something that I did, but as I said earlier, something that might not apply to you. So I don't particularly advise you to do this, but to me, the more I benched, until a certain point, the better I got. Obviously, I wasn't gonna do 500 sets of bench press, but I still did more bench press, as in sets. I did my strength work at the start, and then towards the end of the session for the hypertrophy stuff, I would work a bit more on my technique and on focusing on the chest when doing bench press and doing more sets of hypertrophy with this exercise. I would practice the movement even more, and that helped me. Also, when I say bench more, I will say that when I was doing triceps, I would do close grip bench press. So it brought me to 3 times a week bench press in another form, because close grip is not exactly the same as larger grip bench press. But the fact that I was doing a movement that was very similar and strengthening my triceps at the same time helped me get a better bench quicker. I was benching a lot in this sense. If you look at it, you bench 2 times a week, and then you do a tricep session as well where you do close grip bench press, then you're benching 3 times a week. And so obviously you're not doing the chest exactly when you do close grip bench press, you focus more on triceps, but you still practice the movement. And so I was practicing even more the movement, and that got me simply to be a better bencher over time, because I was doing the exercise a lot. Again, you have to do it for yourself. If you're someone who have sensible shoulders or anything like this, you still gotta be careful. That was for myself, but you have to be careful for yourself. But benching more for myself worked out. 3 times a week where you do a close grip bench press for the triceps will also enhance your main bench press, for some people at least. Okay, now that I've given these tips, I'm gonna talk about strength work. I think that you've got to start putting heavier on the bar. Obviously, if you look at powerlifters, they're gonna have a better bench press faster than you. It doesn't mean they're gonna have more muscle, because they don't train the same way. As bodybuilders, we train in a way that we wanna build strength over time more and more, and use that strength to build muscle on higher rep schemes, where there is enough time under tension and this type of things. But if we look at it, powerlifters, they will do strength work quite a lot, play on their nervous system to get better and have a better bench. And at the same time, we still gotta try to do this. I think as bodybuilders, we have to do strength work to improve faster, and then we play with hypertrophy work to build a muscle that we can now build, because we build strength. The strength that we acquire, we transfer it to hypertrophy movements with higher reps and time and intention, and that's when you build muscle. But we still gotta do strength work as bodybuilders. And so, if you start benching, I think that you should do first exercise of your session, and you have to do strength work. So start doing for example 4 sets of 6 to 8 reps. Start to go a bit more down in your reps to actually build strength quicker. You can also do strength cycles where you do 4 times 5, etc., 4 times 4, 4 times 3. As long as you do your hypertrophy work after on chest other movements like flies or etc., it's fine. And you build strength on the bench press, and you will get stronger on the bench press quicker. As I said earlier, you could also come back sometimes to bench press and do a bit more sets of time under tension where you do the hypertrophy stuff. But at the very start of the session, I think that you should do strength work, focus on pretty low reps for the bench press, and do a strength cycle to improve quicker. When I started, I was always doing this type of 15 reps for bench press, and yes, I improved because that was the start, but it did change a lot of things when I started going heavier with lower reps. And so it brings me to say that now technique is very important also when you're gonna start going heavier with lower reps, etc. And technique, improving your technique straight from the start can actually bring you 5 or 10 kg straight off the bat. Honestly, having a better technique for the bench press will first protect you from injuries, but also help you bench press quicker. So here the goal isn't to arch like a powerlifter where you really want to just lower the distance between the bar and your chest. The goal is more to just protect yourself and be in a position that will help you lift heavier, but not in a position where your goal really is simply to have a massive arch and it doesn't even look like a bench press anymore because there is no more distance. I think that you should still keep it a bit bodybuilder-ish. and you should try to just be in a safe position. But this will already help you a lot. The fact that you retract your shoulders, that you arch a little bit, that you put your legs in the right position where they can actually help you and transfer the strength from bottom to top of your chest, of your body, then that will be very helpful. I've seen it many times where I advise a friend or something like that, and they start having a better technique for the bench, where they really retract the shoulders, they have the elbows a bit more in like that, and they really bench like they should bench, and quickly they really improve faster. Like they start with like 40 kg bench press or 50, and then they're like at 70 in a few months only, and that's very efficient. You gotta work on your technique. It's very important. I think that's probably the main thing that will make your bench improve faster than any other tip. And what I advise you, because it's not easy even in watching videos, because it's not easy to understand how you're gonna position yourself the right way. What I can advise you is that find a powerlifter in your gym, someone that really looks like he knows what he's doing, that has the right technique. There is always one, whether he's very strong or not. Usually, you can sense when someone has the right technique. He prepares himself, he will retract the shoulder, arch a bit, etc. Ask this guy, don't be shy, go to him and say, listen, I'm starting, I want to have a better bench press. Can you teach me how to bench press better in my technique? And this guy should be able to tell you how to do so. Don't particularly go to the coach of your gym, because sometimes coaches are very bad. Rather go for someone in your gym that has been gymming for a long time, lifting pretty heavy weights, and that looks like a power lifter, that always does squat, bench press and deadlift, and that does it in the right form. I really advise you to do that. If you don't manage to do it thanks to the videos, I also advise you to record yourself to finally see if you're doing it well. Ask a friend or anyone in the gym to record you afterwards when you think you've learned the right movements, and this will absolutely help you. Technique is super important, just to protect yourself, but also to bench quicker, get closer to the 100 kg bench press, for example. And again, I encourage you to go back to the videos that I made, where I give even more tips regarding the technique, like how to put the bar in the hand palms. It's very important to actually take the bar in the right position, where it doesn't put pressure here and actually it's gonna hurt your wrist. You really want to take it and put the force of the bar that goes inside your forearm rather than here and puts pressure on the wrist, because you're gonna injure your wrist quickly if you don't do that. So I really encourage you to go watch the other video and to get all the tips that I could give that will make not only you bench press faster, but protect you in the long term. And as we know, getting a great bench press is actually something that is done on the long term. So not getting injured is gonna be important. Post reps. They can be very interesting, not because it's fancy to do post reps, but because usually you will do it with a lighter weight, and you can learn actually how to drive the dynamics of how a better bench should be. As in, when you have the bar and you go down and you pose it, you want to have this little bound here, or this little momentum that should help you, to bench press better. I've started doing bench press, poses after a while, and it helped me. And this is the type of stuff when I said, you can bench press more at the end of your session, that I would do. I would basically do my strength work at the start and come back to bench press at the end and do post reps. And I would actually learn how to do the right movement and how, the dynamic should be when you bench press. You go down and you have this little momentum here where you go down and you use the little bound to have the right momentum. And this will just help you be a better bencher when you do your strength work. I think to do post reps, you get a better sense of what good bench press is, and also just more practice in a safer way, and you get a better grasp of what a good bench press should be. Now, although I explained it a little bit about the triceps, and that I do close grip bench press as well to bench even more, I will just advise you in general to get your triceps stronger, at least to assist your chest and your shoulders. Bench press is still a movement that can be quite traumatizing. You have to be careful with it, and getting stronger triceps will just help you to stabilize more your bench press and also just to bench more. So I advise you to do one good session of triceps a week, like you should do anyway if you're a bodybuilder, and not neglect this muscle. And why not also do close grip bench press, just 3 or 4 sets if you don't want to bench too much. If it's 3 times a week is already a lot for you, but you can do some close grip bench press or just some other exercises like skull crushers and get your stronger triceps to have a better bench. Last tip that I can give is actually to get stronger legs, because there is a good leg drive when you bench press. And when you put yourself in the right position where you really try to bring your legs closer to your body when you're on the bench, then it really helps to gain that strength from the legs all up to the upper body. It really helps, this is a leg drive as we said, and so not neglecting your legs will be important for bench press. I neglected legs a lot in my first years. I still managed to get a very good bench press because I benched so much that in the end I managed to do that. But if I had even better legs and I started from the start, I think I could have got, a 200 maybe kg bench press or 190 kg. I got, a bit more than 180. And, if I had done legs from the start, maybe I would have got more on this lift. So I really encourage you even to do it once a week. For example, legs once a week, a very good session from the start. It will help you a long way in the long term than not doing it. And once a week is not that hard, so do it right now. So now the last thing that I want to say about this video that I try to make pretty fast, although as I said, there will be many more tips in other videos that I made about how to bench press to 25 kg, to 25 pounds. What I will say is that, for a skinny guy to bench press something like 100 kg, if you follow all the tips that I gave you and watch all the other videos that I made and you really try to be, focus on the bench press, if you start from a very skinny place and you only bench the bar or something like that, you could actually bench press 100 kg in like a year or a year and a half. It took me 2 years. And then from there, I really improved fast because I knew much better what I was doing and was more invested in the gym. But I think that, in 1 year, 1 year and a half, when you really know what you're doing and that, for example, someone that knows what he's doing is helping you and that you bench frequently, that you don't change things all the time, you can actually bench press 100 kg in 1 year or 1 year and a half. So that's a good idea of what you can do. And if you're someone who's had, sportive past before, there is actually, something like 80 kg body weight for a start, you could bench press 100 kg pretty fast, like 6 months. So, I really think that most people get it in maybe 3-4 years and sometimes never because they just don't really know how to do it. But if you follow the right tips, for example, this channel or other good channels, you will be able to bench press 225 very quickly. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did so, feel free to like, share and subscribe. I will see you in a new one very soon. Hope your bench gets good quickly. Let me know in the comments, how is your bench, and I will try to help you if I can. Take care of yourself, guys. See you later.